Hey guys, this is Mike again, and it's Friday, and we are bringing you craft brew news. We go over the beer news of the past week, and I have special guest today. It's Pam Cateau, who is an editor of PorchDrinking.com, involved in the Pink Boots Society, and Austin, Texas in general. How you doing, Pam?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you came on today.
Thanks for having me.
We did a separate podcast with Pam and what she's up to, and that'll be out in a couple of weeks. But I asked her to stick around and then go through the news with me and give her opinions on these fun stories that we're seeing. So the first story is Actual Brewing files for bankruptcy. It's unfortunate stuff here. In the wake of sexual assault allegations against Actual Brewing Company, founder Fred Lee, the Columbus, Ohio-based craft beer company, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, according to Columbus Business First. All these stories, by the way, are brought by brewbound.com. Actual's largest unsecured claim is a $100,000 loan made by John Dilley, Business First reported. The company also owes federal taxes of $55,000 and thousands of dollars to other creditors, including the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. Man, City of Columbus, all these federal and city, that's bad news. Keg Logistics is $21,000. Mobile Canner, Iron Hearts, $5,000. And its landlord, I guess they have back rent for $39,000. So there's a lot of stuff that they owe. And then meanwhile, the company is facing a civil lawsuit from an investor attempting to recoup $50,000, the outlet reported. So there's some bad stuff going on in Actual Brewing. What have you seen in terms of breweries? I guess there's breweries coming online, but a lot of them are getting in trouble. Pam, I don't know. What do you think about that?
I hope that that's not a trend.
Yeah, I mean these specific circumstances. I think it's rare, but
this particular story is really one of the worst I've ever heard. And the accuser is a member of Pink Boots Society.
Oh, it is,
and has been she's been sharing some information with the group, and it's just, it's stunning. It's
horrible.
really, really bad.
Wow.
So, and there's more people that are going to come forward with similar stories. So this is one of the worst that I've heard in a long time. So I really do think it's not the norm. I do think that there are, obviously situations in the industry. It is perceived for sure as a male-driven industry. And again, with Pink Boots, we're trying to make sure that there's a forum for women to feel like they can bond together and help each other and promote one another, to kind of give a voice for these types of situations, feel like you're not alone. But in general, just my experience living in Austin and knowing all the brewers that I know, this is not a pervasive thing here that I'm aware of. I would quite honestly be shocked. There's jerks everywhere, of course, but to this extent, this is definitely federal. This is criminal extent.
Wow, it's bad news. They're in trouble, yeah. But I think they went nuts as well. I think their brewing, I think they went crazy because they're owing all this money to a lot of people. Maybe they were making beer. We talked about it before. I think breweries. Sometimes people just plow a lot of money into a brewery, and they don't know what they're doing, and they just go and make beer, and then it's like not good. Nobody buys it, and then they have distributors, and then they get screwed, and just one thing leads to another, and then not
and
paying
I was really
taxes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Towards the assault allegations, but for sure the financial aspect of it, that much I really don't have a total insight into in terms of kind of what's happening in this industry here in Austin. Just because how would I know? But there is a story of a Texas brewery. And I'm not going to name them. You could probably look it up, but that did go under recently or cease operations. And their story is not fraudulent, not of any fraud, but kind of what you and I were talking about earlier, just making decisions that weren't good for cash flow, if you will, and then having a series of potential risks, every single one of them coming true.
Wow.
And that's really difficult when you're, planning a business and you are planning for risks, and then every single pitfall happens.
Man,
it's really tragic.
I've seen it before in other breweries too. Like things are just happening, and employees would sue them, and then it's just a mess. Yeah, and then it's just they throw up their hands and say, I'm done, and they file for bankruptcy, and that's it. But all right, that's unfortunate. That hopefully, I don't know how it's going to work out, but anyway, it's out there. Our next story: Northern Eagle Beverage acquires New Jersey AB wholesaler. Northern Eagle Beverage Company today announced the acquisition of Anheuser-Busch Sales of New Jersey, a Jersey City-based wholly owned distributor, according to a press release. Divestiture does raise questions about AB's next potential move, included among conditions in last October's final judgment approving AB's Mega Brew merger with SAB Miller is an agreement that the global beer giant cannot purchase a beer wholesaler if the acquisition will result in more than 10% of its U.S. volume being sold via wholly owned distribution companies. So there's a lot of... I think AB has this agenda, and I think they're doing things through these shell companies or other companies that they own an ownership in. And I think that's the way they're kind of meeting that agenda, unfortunately. I've seen stories like this all over the place, where they go in and they don't directly purchase like rate beer, but they'll have some shell entity purchase rate beer. But they own 80% of it or something like that. So it kind of keeps the focus away from AB. Sorry. I don't know. What do you think about all this?
I think it's shady.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculously shady. So, yeah, I'm trying to read because this is one of the ones I don't know a ton about it. So just the more I'm reading into the details, Texas-based standard sales company. Wow. Yeah, this is, so my opinion, of course, is I think AB is going to do whatever they can to keep their profits up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and that means whatever they can. And they got rid of their high-end branch. What was it called? I forget the name of it. They had their little high-end market where they're acquiring, the Goose Islands and...
Right. Yeah. And I know what you're talking about. I don't have it at the tip of my tongue, but...
They got rid of it, but I don't think I think that they, in my opinion, probably got rid of it so that they could continue to do those acquisitions, like you said, through shell companies as opposed to making it public. It'd be harder and harder to figure out what's AB and what's not.
Right, exactly. It's just
like.
Kind of a maze now. You don't know what they own and what they don't own. And then when stuff happens, you're thinking about it like, all right, some big guy's got to be involved. And usually that's the case. They own some type of ownership in it, or someone comes out of the blue and just buys somebody, right? Like this is
right.
Like for $1 billion. Like, where did they get the money from? Aha. So it's going to be interesting. Well, if they buy wholesalers, right, and then they go to B2C, right, business to consumer, I guess if they can do it, I guess that opens the floodgates for all the other brewers. They could do B2C, right? It's not good for distributors, but maybe
as long as you're not in Texas.
Oh, forget about Texas. Yeah, you were telling me about the state. Every state is different, I guess, but Texas, like some of the stuff you were telling me, I was like, oh my gosh, all right. But hopefully all the states, understand that, hey, do whatever you have to do in the state, sell the beer, ship it, accept it, and you're going to get tax on it, So just, it's good for you, and it's good for consumers.
Right.
Everything's trending online now. You don't go to stores anymore. You go order it, and then it gets delivered. They have Uber Eats and stuff like that. I don't know if they have Uber. They probably have Uber down there, right?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Well, we did, and then we kicked them out, and then we brought them back in.
That's what Yeah, Portsmouth banned them. Portsmouth, New Hampshire banned them originally, and then they apparently now it's legal, I guess. I don't know. But
you have to determine the appropriate state-funded kickback and go from there.
There's so much nonsense. I know. I should just do a podcast just on that. Just expose everybody. But I don't know. Maybe in the future. Third story. Class action lawsuit filed against Molson Coors. Oh, no. Molson Coors is facing a class action lawsuit for overstating its net income by nearly $400 million in 2016. Wow. SEC filing last week, Molson Coors blamed accounting errors with inflating its net income totals and understating its net liabilities in 2016. That's a big nut, $400 million. I don't know what they make in terms of billions. I'm not sure. That's a big number for any company. For any company, additional accounting errors. How can you make an error like $400 million? I don't understand. I'd like to understand, because I'm a CPA too, and I'm an auditor, and stuff like that. Like your antenna goes up. So we should see what the SEC what they say about this, and they'll make all that stuff public. Like they'll disclose all of it. So I'm interested. Lawsuit claims that Molson Coors, whose flagship products include Miller Lite and Coors Light, as well as CEO Mark Hunter and CFO Tracy Joubert, engaged in a scheme to deceive investors by knowingly or deliberately disregarding the company's financial statement, contained errors and misleading statements. So I wonder what happened with the stock price. I got to check it out. But that's a big nut there, $400 million. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I hope they get in trouble. Good.
Good. It's interesting to see what happens. I mean,
yeah.
Hey, could it be the demise of Molson Coors? I don't know. Things have happened before. I mean, we had the big five accounting firms, and Anderson. The government came in and they found a couple audits that were like shady, and they called the whole firm felons. They said, you're all felons, because they were just starting to destroy paperwork and, stuff that was subpoenaed, and they said the whole firm is a bunch of felons, and then the whole thing collapsed. All the clients just went to other firms. So instead of the big five big five accounting firms, became big four, and now it's still the big four, but the other four are scared. I just did some work for one of the accounting firms, and they're just scared because they have the government just looking at their work papers, and they just have to do double the work, and so. Hey, you never know. You never know.
If it's true that they deliberately disregarded the financial statements and knew that they contained errors and misleading statements, I mean, what it does really is it opens them up. If they're going to, face something that's bigger than they can handle, then potentially they make a deal and maybe even get bought. Right? I mean, instead of folding completely, maybe they have to sell their portfolio.
Oh my God, it's going to be like AB InBev Molson Coors.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I
No.
couldn't imagine AB InBev, and it happened, right? Molson Coors. There were two large entities that got. Man, I don't know. That'd be a mega giant. Anyway, all right. Next story. Last story. Other half. Hires Eric Salazar away from New Belgium. He's the brewer there. After a 23-year career at New Belgium, Eric Salazar has departed the Fort Collins headquartered craft brewery to join New York's Other Half Brewing and lead its wood-aged and wild ale program, according to the Democrat and Chronicle. New Belgium has great beer, and they're great because whenever we go to GABF, they have buses like there, and you can just jump on a bus and they'll take you up to Fort Collins and just feed you and give you all kinds of beer and stuff like that. They're awesome. They're awesome people. Other half co-founder and brewmaster Sam Richardson told the outlet he's going to help us reimagine what we want this program to look like. So he's just going to focus on wood-aged and wild ale program. Actually, we do podcasts on Wednesday, and we go through beer styles. So recently we've been doing a lot of wood-aged podcasts, so guys, check it out. It's good stuff. We talk about a different beer style every week, as a side note. And however, get back to the story, Other Half has yet to establish a home for its nascent sour production, which is currently searching for. For his part, Salazar, who departed New Belgium at the beginning of the year, told Democrat and Chronicle that he and his wife, Amy, were looking to move to the East Coast to be closer to the family. And I bet you he can probably help out with the sour program as well, because New Belgium does a lot of sours. So I think that was probably a good hire on the other half's part. Yeah, interesting. Have you heard of any of these breweries and tried their beer, like New Belgium?
Well, New Belgium for sure. We actually do get that in Texas, surprisingly.
Oh
So
yeah, you were telling
we
me
get,
it was hard to get
yeah,
beer in, except for Austin beer, right?
yeah. So
Wow.
the best chance we have of trying rare new beers is bottle shares from people that have traveled a lot. So I was just in Napa and I picked up a whole bunch of. I went to Russian River and this new brewery called Mad Fritz, and we picked up a bunch of beer and brought it home. So that's your best chance for getting interesting beers here. But yes, we do have New Belgium. And I think, I mean, after a 23-year career, if you're looking to be, I mean, I've been in my company for almost 20 years, I'm ready to go to do something different. I think you're right. I think this is a good move it sounds like, for the brewer and for the brewery.
Yeah, I guess, for his wife, she wants to be closer to the family, and then the brewery got a good 23-year veteran, right?
Well, and you've probably interviewed enough brewers to know that sometimes when they're at production breweries, they get bored because, they're making kind of the same quality controlled beer over and over and over.
When it gets bigger, it's not really, the whole excitement of changing it or whatever, or maybe they don't have a lot of leeway. They just have to make, mass produce this stuff. And
sounds like this is a project where he can be extremely creative.
Right. Wood Asian Wild Ale program.
Just the word reimagine means that he can do whatever he wants.
Pretty much. I think that's a very interesting thing. Yeah. So we'll see what the other half comes out with in the coming months. It should be interesting. So, I appreciate you being on, Pam Cato, in Austin. I got to get down to Austin. And guys, if you like the podcast, you like what we're doing, you like our guests, please go on to iTunes and subscribe. Give us a rating, give us a review. That's the only way we get up in the rankings. We have our downloads are increasing. They kind of doubled actually over the past. I mean, it's not up there, it's not astronomical, but hey, it doubled, so I'm going to take it. And we got more people listening, and I appreciate you, telling a friend, tell 10 friends. We're 10x here. We will talk to you on Monday. Yeah, but Pam, I appreciate you coming on. And
thanks so much for having me. It's been great.
Keep doing what you're doing. And I got to be the New England guy for Porsche drinking. Actually, the northeast. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, Pam. Okay, take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.